You're about to take part in a thrilling first-person narrative.
Skip to the first chapter.
Hey, it's Janelle Waz, and welcome back to another episode of Treknalysis. Author. No. But the Doctor becomes an author and writes a novel that's basically a mirror universe version of Voyager.
Janeway to the Doctor. Report to my ready room now.
I wonder if I could Tivix a hologram. Now, Star Trek has addressed the idea of artificial lifeform rights in previous episodes, but the Next Generation episode, The Measure of a Man, is the episode that defined Data's legal rights as an android. In fact, I covered that episode in a video. But Voyager had its own spin on the idea with the Holo-Doc and explored it in episodes like Latent Image, which I also covered, and it resulted in a very clever Nickelback reference.
Look at this photograph.
But also the Season 7 episode Author, where the Doc writes a holo-novel based on his experiences as a Holo-Doctor, but with the crew that's a little too close to reality.
But I assure you, any further similarities are purely coincidental.
You set your story on a starship lost in the Delta Quadrant.
Hey, no, that could very well have been based off the Equinox crew. Oh. I mean, that intro had to be inspired by Myst, right?
Give me the page. Please, give me the page. Page, my friend. Page.
And somehow all of this led up to a hearing about the Doctor's rights. ChatGPT, take a seat. We got a new AI author in town in Author.
Chapter 1. It's the Doctor's world. You're just living in it.
But before I go further, thanks for checking out my video. Make sure you like and subscribe for more of my Star Trek, video game, and other miscellaneous content. Keep those hailing frequencies open on the other social media sites, and a big thank you to my channel members for supporting the channel. If you'd like to buy me a cup of tea and support my work, consider joining up on my channel. Be great to have you aboard.
In the beginning, there is darkness.
Ah yes, the perfect opening, from the Bible to the likes of Civilization 4.
In the beginning, the earth was without form.
Rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy. Civilization hasn't been the same without you. The Doc materializes in a pretty cool effect as he sits down to write up. Kidding, because this is a hologram of a hologram. Now, this is the final season of Voyager, and at this point, our 3-hour tour turned 7-year tour starship has had limited contact with Starfleet in the Alpha Quadrant thanks to Lieutenant Barclay. However, it's only now that they've managed to do live video chats. Reg, good to see you! Oh, and hi Tom's dad. Voyager can now have video conferences with the Alpha Quadrant, but only for 11 minutes a day. So everyone draws lots to contact their loved ones for a grand total of 3 minutes. Harry wants to surprise his mom for her birthday next week, so here's hoping for a low number.
130. That's about a month and a half from now.
Give your mom my best.
Man, Tom really is a bro. The Doc, however, pulled a low number, and he's using it to talk to a publisher about publishing his new holo-novel called Photons Be Free.
The publishers of the Dixon Hill series?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, nice callback. Just hope the Doc's holo-novel doesn't try to kill anyone. Photons Be Free has you play as a holographic doctor serving on board a starship flung into the Delta Quadrant called the Starship Vortex. I mean, it's a bold choice to name a ship after the Echo the Dolphin aliens, but okay. Tom convinces the Doc to let him see his program, and while the Doc is technically still making revisions, he lets Tom out of the rest of his shift to try out the holo-novel. And the first thing he does is skip most of the 9-minute intro.
Skip to the first chapter.
Watch, it turns out he missed the tutorial and won't have any idea how to play the game. So Tom starts the game, and it starts out normal enough. In fact, it's not too different from the events of Caretaker, the first episode of the show, and when the Holo-Doc was activated. And it involves treating a few patients. Pretty normal stuff. But then, things take a familiar but dark turn. Tom starts to see his co-workers, but not his co-workers. Basically, they're discount versions of the Voyager crew.
We resemble but are legally distinct from the lollipop kill.
I don't know. Huge tattoo with Bajoran ridges? Gee, I wonder if he has an unresolved love story with the captain.
I need Lieutenant Marseille on the bridge.
Oh, now that's creative.
Don't worry, we'll always have Marseille. Chief Engineer Tori, who looks suspiciously like a human B'Elanna Torres? Ensign Kimball, the Trill hypochondriac with lots of spots and only one pip on his collar?
I didn't notice a little box on my chair.
Tulok? Okay, the doc's not even trying with this one. 3 of 8, the member of the crew with a fantastic figure. And then there's Captain Jenkins. Wow, just like the real thing. Okay, that was a joke. I do think Janeway's actions throughout the series have been memed into exaggeration over the years. Just don't deny the woman her coffee. Coffee, 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 coffee. But besides the uncanny resemblance of the crew coupled with a particularly brutal nature, Tom realizes that the crew is treating the holographic doctor absolutely horribly.
I don't know who you think you are, Hologram, but to me you're just another piece of technology.
Ooh, I just got a bad flashback there.
You're just a hologram, and I am his counselor. I outrank you.
You take that back, Ezra. You take that back! Vic is a treasure and you know it!
Lucky me, can't you see I'm in love?
So Tom's a little insulted by the obvious parallels to the crew, and he talks to his pregnant wife B'Elanna and his Reverend Ensign friend Harry. Harry's worried that people will think that this is actually how the Voyager crew acts, but B'Elanna thinks Tom is overreacting. So both Harry and B'Elanna try out the holoprogram for themselves. And B'Elanna's pissed that she has to lug around a heavy mobile emitter, get insulted by Roxanne Dawson, and find her totally not husband.
Give my patient a tonsillectomy.
Neelix, meanwhile, finds out that holograms, have Riker-style subroutines.
I had no idea holograms could do that.
Nobody take him to Quarks!
His subroutines are going to be deleted immediately.
I see the doc still bitter over his wiped memory and latent image.
Describe how you tampered with my program. How it was you all along.
Meanwhile, Harry's running for his life. What else is new? And Janeway gets an impassioned speech from 3 about her rights. Again, shades from latent image, but how did the doc know about that?
But one day people will learn of the crime you're committing here today.
Nice speech.
The crew is understandably upset over their portrayal in Photons Be Free, and the fact that people could play this holo-novel and assume it's all true. But the doc insists that it's not the Voyager crew. He only used their images as a starting point. They're not the same people!
But I assure you any further similarities are purely coincidental.
Hope he put that at the end of the credits. Also, B'Elanna's complaining about the mobile emitter gameplay mechanics, which, as a gamer, feels all too relatable.
Yeah, what was the point of that? It was like carrying around a small shuttlecraft.
But the oversized heavy holo emitter was a metaphor, because imagine having to carry around a small device that easily attaches to your arm every day so you can leave sickbay. I'm sorry, but the doc's argument is totally bullshit. Yes, he's the only one who has to wear it, but 1, he literally couldn't leave sickbay until he got the mobile emitter, future technology they're not even supposed to have, by the way. So he can move around the ship and even go to planets performing concerts because of that thing. And 2, literally nobody cares that he's wearing that thing. What, did you run into someone making cracks about your mobile emitter in the bathroom, Doc?
Your emitter isn't a ball and chain. It liberates you.
It doesn't always feel that way.
Oh, bullshit! Janeway is 100% right. The doc defends his work, as any creator should to a certain extent. He had in mind all the discarded holograms like himself who had been regulated to menial tasks in the Alpha Quadrant while updated holograms replaced them, and he's trying to call attention to their plight. That's not a bad idea, but the execution ended up hurting his friends who see this holo-novel as revealing what the doc really thinks of them and how they treat him. Now, in all fairness, if you look early in the show, the doc does express frustration about how he's treated by the crew as just a piece of technology. In fact, Kes was probably the first one to reach out to him and help him explore his humanity and develop relationships with the crew. His taking out his frustrations through writing could believably work. The problem is that this is season 7, and we've seen the crew nurture the doc's quest to discovering his humanity throughout the entire show. He's clearly more than just a hologram to these people. Now, if you put this episode in the early seasons of the show, the doc becomes a more sympathetic character. But in the final season, the doc's argument comes off as extremely ungrateful. The doc chooses his novel over his friends, and he's off to make some final revisions to the program.
Welcome.
Uh-oh, someone joined the modding community.
Chapter 1. It's the doctor's world. You're just living in it.
Oh yeah, Tom went all out programming the doc with a bad comb-over, with a bad attitude, and even worse bedside manner.
It hurts when I do this.
Well, then don't do it.
Ow! Somewhere in the Alpha Quadrant, Chief O'Brien's shoulder gives out. He knows not why. So the doc's upset that his program was tampered with and his image is being used in this way. Which was exactly the point Tom was making.
I do what all good novelists do. I write what I know.
Hey, I'm just writing what I know.
Tom in particular was hurt by the doc's program. Not because he cares about what people think of him, but because he thought he finally gained the doc's respect, going from bad boy convict to valued officer and family man. But that Lieutenant Marseille is what he thinks of Tom without him having to say it. And suddenly, the doc starts to get it. Wow, I didn't even talk about the episode's B-plot, the crew talking to their families in the Alpha Quadrant. It's not super important to the story, but these moments provide insight into the characters and their families. Harry did indeed get to surprise his mom in time for her birthday, and Harry's quite popular with her 8th grade students.
So when is she giving you a promotion?
It's a small ship. There are only so many command positions available.
Hey, whatever helps you sleep at night, man.
I didn't notice the little box on my chair.
And just when Mom was about to send a letter to Janeway about promoting Harry, a solar flare knocks out the signal. I mean, you can't get much lower than you already are, Harry. You might as well let her try. B'Elanna gets a message from her father, John Snorres.
I used to fall asleep in class all the time. So instead of John Torres, they called me John Snorres.
This is a very entertaining story, but why am I listening to it?
Now, for context, the last time B'Elanna saw her father was on the camping trip from hell, and afterwards he left her and her mother. She blamed herself, especially her Klingon half, for his leaving and carried around that guilt for years until Tom promised her he was never going to leave her. And stayed he did, helping her through reconnecting with her father with a possible reconciliation down the road. You have to admit, Tom's a pretty good guy. And lastly, Seven was about to give Harry her time so he could talk to his mother again, but he insisted upon her using that time to call a relative. So she calls her Aunt Irene, who's delighted to hear from her.
It's wonderful to see you again, Annika.
Alright, enough of the feel-good stories. Back to Photons Be Free. Because he hurt everyone with his Holo-Novel, well, except for Neelix who loved it, and interestingly enough, didn't have an equivalent in the story.
It was a rousing adventure, with an important message, too.
The doc decided to make revisions so the parallels are less obvious. Which he probably should have done before sending it to the publisher because...
This program, it's about Voyager, and it doesn't portray the crew in a very flattering light.
Gee, it's almost like the Voyager crew's concerns were entirely justified.
The program shouldn't have been distributed yet.
Mr. Barkley tells me it's already being played in thousands of holosuites.
So the doc gets in contact with his publisher and rightly demands a recall and an apology, which they refuse.
According to Federation law, holograms have no rights.
Here we go again. And now we come to the crux of the problem with this episode. Now, the doc's A-plot can be divided into two, writing the novel and the hologram legalities. The first part does work, though the timing could have been a bit better, earlier in the show rather than the last season. It's the measure of a hologram where it falls apart because it should have been unnecessary. I'm not saying that exploring the topic of hologram rights is a bad idea. In fact, self-aware holograms in Star Trek aren't new. Besides the doc, there was Rurigan's holographic village, Minuet, Vic Fontaine, the best hologram of them all.
But it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me.
So addressing their rights isn't that strange of an idea. The problem is that everything this episode covers was already covered in Measure of a Man 12 years before and more successfully. Someone's clearly violating an artificial life form's rights, formulating a legal argument to prove their rights, accounts of their becoming an individual. The Doc is even compared to a replicator.
A replicator created this cup of coffee. Should that replicator be able to determine whether or not I can drink it?
Data is a toaster.
We even get an impassioned captain speech using similar arguments. How is this not Measure of a Man?
But are these traits real, or is the Doctor merely programmed to simulate them? To be honest, I don't know.
Philippa, is that you?
It sits there looking at me, and I don't know what it is.
Look, I understand Trek reuses stories from time to time. I'm not even necessarily against that. The problem is that Voyager doesn't expand on the story it's taking inspiration from, and it's just retreading old ground. Heck, there should already be somewhat of a legal precedent, which makes me ask, why are we here again? Yes, technically Measure of a Man was about androids, or more accurately, data, but the focus should have been on why the Doc would fall under that ruling instead of trying to reinvent the wheel.
We are exploring new territory today.
No, we're not! But the hearing takes place over 3 days because of limited comm time, which means a lot of crewmen are going to miss out on family time. The bulk of the Doc's case is that he's an artist and therefore entitled to an artist's rights, but legally, an artist must be a person.
What we need to do is prove that he's just as much a person as any of us.
Yep, bring out the medals, the Shakespeare books, and that hologram of Tasha Yar for no particular reason.
It never happened.
The crew also testifies about the various ways the Doc has become an individual, which is basically just giving quick summaries of episodes like Someone to Watch Over Me, Tinker Tenor, Dr. Spy, and Lifeline, ending off with Janeway talking about how the Doc disobeyed her orders.
That's hardly commendable behavior.
No, it wasn't. But it was human.
Well, the ruling is that while the Arbiter isn't prepared to call the Doc a person, he does exhibit human characteristics, so he's extending the legal definition of an artist to include the Doc, so he has the right to control his work.
I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but it feels like a hollow victory.
It also doesn't help that the Doc's novel is already a big hit in the Alpha Quadrant, and the value of a first edition copy of Photons Be Free in its original form is going to skyrocket on the Ferengi black market. And in fact, it's especially popular among holograms.
It's called Photons Be Free. It's quite provocative.
And that was Author. While I do like the episode for its fun moments and quieter character moments, I can't deny that it's got some significant problems. It's an episode that happened far too late in the show's running and retreads old ground without adding anything new to it. The Doc, having been accepted by the crew as an individual and not just a piece of technology, comes across as ungrateful, unreasonable, and even a little bit callous rather than sympathetic. If there is a way to show the Doc's struggles that also make the crew a little uncomfortable, this wasn't it. In fact, I feel like that idea was executed much better in Latent Image. But nevertheless, we do get some fun moments here and there in this episode. However, it's the legality of the episode that's the more glaring issue, being just a retread of the Measure of a Man, but a more condensed version that isn't as good. Maybe the writers are thinking that some viewers never watched Measure of a Man in a pre-streaming world, so this was their opportunity to tell a good story again. But for the Trekkies who remember Measure of a Man, this whole subplot feels unnecessary, and you're better off watching the original episode, which, in my opinion, does a better job exploring the rights of artificial life forms across an entire episode, rather than the last little bit. As far as Author goes, Doctor, don't quit your day job.
Persons with vascular disorders should consult a physician before running this program.
So what did you think of Author? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you like me in that you enjoyed the episode but recognized it had some significant problems? Or am I just being too harsh on it? Which do you prefer, Measure of a Man or Author? And what are some of your favorite artificial life form episodes? Be they android, hologram, or even robot? Please leave comments below and discuss. As always, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Treknalysis. If you like what you see, why not give my video a like and subscribe to my channel? Tell your friends! Until next time...
But I assure you, any further similarities are purely coincidental.